if you observe the holy month of Ramadan, and of course you're fasting during this period and you have difficulty building or maintain muscle, I am going to figure it out for you, so keep watching. Hello everyone, my name is Kris Gethin. I've been voted the world's #1 transformation expert on 3 occasions, and I work with a lot of clients that observe Ramadan from all around the world, particularly India. Work with a lot of people there, and the #1 question I get from people, or the struggle, is how to build or maintain muscle during this period, because of course you're fasting throughout the daylight hours. And then what do? You feast. Are you going to work out? Maybe not. When should you work out? Let me lay it all out for you. So there's various types of following this fasting protocol. Some people, dependent on their beliefs and whatnot, will take essential amino acids during the daylight fasting period. So that's what I would suggest people take, is that get these essential amino acids to prevent catabolism throughout the day. So you're drinking basically like longevity EAAs, for instance. These essential amino acids are your building blocks to your muscle that doesn't give you like a bunch of calories like maybe protein powder or chicken or anything like that. But you're able to have those amino acids as building blocks to prevent that catabolism, which you normally would encounter when you're fasting for a long period of time. You could also add some glutamine to that. Make sure these amino acids are fermented. However, if you're not taking any essential amino acids, if you're not having glutamine, this is how you should break your fast. So #1, I suggest that you break that fast immediately with whey protein isolate. Grass-fed whey protein isolate. That is if you are a non-vegetarian, of course, because it is a dairy produce. The reason being is that this is a very fast digesting protein. You want to prevent that catabolism and get into an anabolic response as soon as humanly possible. How do you do that? By taking in the highest bioavailable food at this time, and that is going to be whey protein isolate. Following that, it could be eggs, like egg whites, for instance. But if you're a vegetarian, maybe you should look at a pea protein powder. So that can get absorbed into your system as soon as humanly possible, and then you can think about food following that. Food would be a little bit slower to digest, but of course you need to do that. And then if you are looking to working out, which you should, I would suggest that you work out just before breaking your fast, so just before having that post-workout shake, or immediately after you break in that fast. You can have your post-workout shake, maybe you take a pre-workout, and then you go train and then continue to eat. The biggest issue that I see with a lot of people is that they don't hydrate enough. They don't have enough electrolytes, don't have enough magnesium. So ensure that you are having electrolytes throughout the day when you're drinking your water, to ensure that you get that good muscle contraction, you have the energy mentally as well, and getting a good amount of magnesium, which will help with that contraction and relaxation of the muscle. But of course, our body is made up of around 70 to 80% fluid. So you want to ensure that you hydrate enough so you have the energy and the strength to work out, to break down muscle tissue in order for you to build it up with the food that you have following. One of the issues that I also see is that people use that eating window to binge on crap, bad food. Could be oily, could have a lot of trans fats, could just be bad food. Think of any bad food. It's essential that you have healthy food during this time. So whatever food that you're eating when you're not fasting should be replicated when you're breaking your fast. However, these foods can be higher in calories because you're probably not going to get your 5 or 6 meals in during this eating window, because you probably should be sleeping pretty soon as well. Remember, your performance is dictated by your recovery. You're going to recover when you sleep. So you do want to have an adequate amount of sleep of like 7+ hours. So to ensure that you do get plenty of dense calories during this time, I would suggest adding more healthy fats than you generally would. So let's say, for instance, you'd usually eat 6-7 egg whites. Maybe ensure that several of those, maybe 2 or 3 of those eggs, are whole eggs. And then you have the egg whites on top. You could add some extra virgin olive oil on your foods. You could have some avocado. You could have some nuts and seeds. If you do eat a type of meat, maybe it'd be a fattier cut, but don't go overboard. This is just for you to get the adequate amount of calories in. And of course, you want to ensure that you are getting plenty of protein in. That's why I do suggest protein shakes, because getting your food in is going to be difficult to get the amount of protein in as well during that fasting window. Now, you are going to be a little bit more metabolically active. You're going to be more insulin sensitive. So you will be able to take in more carbohydrates and more protein during that time that you generally would if you were eating like 5 or 6 meals. So you would be able to compact them a little bit more without the issue of it being converted to fat, because you're that much more metabolically active and insulin sensitive. So you can get in more food, but it has to be healthy food. Now, during the evening, when you are breaking this fast, you want to keep cortisol levels down as low as possible. You want to be in that parasympathetic rest and digest state in order for you to absorb and not store the food. So there's a few things that you need to do. I know you're going to be extremely hungry and you're just thinking about nothing but wolfing down the food, but it's very important that you are in that rest and digest and you're present and you're taking your time eating the food and being associated with your senses. You know, you've got gratitude, you're smelling the food, you're tasting the food, you're looking at the food, you're observing the texture of the food and you're appreciative of it. But you're taking your time, you're not distracted, you're not scrolling on your phone, you're not talking to somebody, you're being present and you're putting your fork down between bites, making sure that you're chewing a good 20 times before you swallow. That is part of your digestion process, but that will help bring your cortisol levels down so you'll be able to absorb, as opposed to just storing some of it because you're creating some insulin resistance and you're not going to be as metabolically active. Another thing that you can do is at that time at night, chances are you're going to be under artificial light when your circadian rhythm is ready for bed. So that's going to raise your cortisol levels as well, as this blue light, the blue frequencies of the artificial light penetrates your retina. That's also going to raise your cortisol levels. Melatonin won't be released, etc. Oxytocin, serotonin. So you want to try to block blue light as much as possible. It might be difficult for you to avoid it altogether unless you have candlelight in your house. So that's why I do suggest that you wear blue light blocking glasses at this time, like a couple of hours, you know, like before you usually go to bed, but maybe an hour or so before you break your fast, and continue to wear them until you go to bed to ensure your cortisol levels are low. Now, we do have, through photobiomodulation, we will absorb some of that light through our skin as well. So I do suggest that you stay covered up so your circadian rhythm doesn't think that it is daytime, and you know, obviously your cortisol levels are going to be higher. So cortisol is a catabolic hormone as well. Remember, we're trying to build or maintain muscle during this period. Now, fasting is good. That's fine. It's great for autophagy. It's good for DNA cleanup, but extensive amount of fasting can lead to different health markers, like your testosterone level can drop. Obviously, you know, you may lose muscle during this time. There's a lot that's going on here. So that's why I do suggest that you have healthy foods, because you don't want to create inflammation. Inflammation could cause your testosterone levels to drop even more. And you want the testosterone to feel good, to be focused, be strong, and obviously it's good for longevity. You know, there's a direct association with testosterone levels, much like there's a direct association with grip strength and squat strength to longevity as well. So you want to ensure that your hormones are good, and that's why it is imperative that you eat extremely healthy when you do break your fast. And the reason why I keep repeating that is because repetitively I've been told by so many people that do observe this religious month that they eat bad. They generally use this as an excuse or a justification to eat bad, and maybe your family members are eating bad during this time, or your friends are. So it's very easy to get influenced by that. So I suggest that you write down your goals specifically during this fasting period, and then write down what you need to do in order to reach those goals. So maybe it's working out 5 times a week, even though you are tired, even though you are hungry. You're going to work out before you break your fast. And then when you do break your fast, you're going to eat well, you're hydrating to ensure that you do have the focus, the energy, the strength, the electrolyte function, etc., etc. So it should be no different to any other time of the year, other than you're just extending your fasting window, and that's it. So thank you very much. If you do like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. If there's anybody else that you think would find this video helpful, please do share it with them. Thank you.